Okay, so what we do as Genji is we utilize our mobility, etc., to position ourselves in a way to where we can threaten off angles, and then we can make those off angles play more conservatively. And once they play closer to their backline, they're less threatening to our team. In other words, as Genji, your contribution is really, I have the enemy, you know, Widowmakers over here, there's a McCree, there's a Zen, you know, and they're all around here. And kind of similar to Tracer, you kind of force them to move back closer to their team because they don't want to get picked by Genji or pressured by Genji. And then even if they don't leave that, you can poke at them and poke at them and poke at them and poke at them. So they're looking at you and they're not looking at your tanks that are taking space anywhere else, right? If you can distract the Widowmaker and distract the McCree and survive, then your team will thank you. Right, and as Genji, you're very well geared at that with your mobility, with your deflect, with your shurikens, etc. And then if they mess up with their positioning, you can punish them. Now, Genji in that way operates similar to Tracer. What he's different from Tracer in the fact that he can't hard flank. In other words, you can't bully enemies who are like way back here very often. Like you can't go all the way around and punish these guys for being split. You kind of have to do ones that are like closer and tighter to your team because you have a lack of, you're not quite as mobile as Tracer, and you certainly aren't as self-sufficient as Tracer, so you need healing. But the other thing is that also that Tracer is way more like, but excuse me, the one thing that Genji does have that Tracer doesn't have is the vertical mobility. So in other words, you are like Tracer is more mobile on the floor, you are more mobile in the air. So like we like Genji on maps where there is more of that vertical mobility, so you can exploit your positioning more. So like the way I think of this, like right now, so you what your job here is you want to make this part of the map uncomfortable for them to hold. Get a better color. Uncomfortable for them to hold. You want to be constantly poking shurikens, wall climbing and throwing dashes here, throwing, you know, get shurikens here. Make this part of the map uncomfortable for them. Don't stand here and just keep pumping shurikens down main, because you want to discourage the enemy team from coming here because they're like, oh, there's a Genji over there, be careful. There's a Genji over there, be careful. There's a Genji over there, be careful. Because this, remember, this part of the map is scary. You guys can go right to point and you might even cap first, but then everybody that's here, everybody that's here, and everybody that's on the other high ground here is going to poke you guys out from high ground. And yeah, you'll cap point, but you'll lose the fight. So you as Genji got to go, okay, which one of these like little areas can I kind of zone? Either clear out, kill, or just make people uncomfortable. Because like if you're here, that doesn't stop them from shooting your Rhine on point. And obviously a Genji by himself is not going to be able to threaten a Hog and a Torb and a Lucio. But even just, like, let's say you just distract them a little bit. Like the Hog throws a hook at you and he misses, and the Lucio comes after you a little bit, and the Torbjorn sets up his turret in a way to shoot at you. Well, you've already kind of done your job, even if you don't kill anybody over here, because all of the angles that are on this position here that are now shooting at you, even just a little bit, instead of shooting at your Rhine on point. So what we have here is a lot of times is we'll have two styles of Genjis. We'll have the Genjis that they will play properly in terms, okay, so in other words, they'll play properly like on angles and stuff like that, but then they'll dash in at the first moment's notice and die. And then they'll lose the fight. And then this, because they're dead, now the enemy team just walks into the space that they have and they win the fight. Or you have the Genjis that play really poorly. They play in their own backline, throwing shurikens, but they don't dash in. But the problem is it doesn't matter if they dash in or not, because yeah, they didn't feed, but they lose the fight because they didn't even contest this part of the map at all. So the goal, chat, listen to me to sum this up. The goal is to position yourself well so that you can put out constant pressure, but to not feed while you're on the good positions. Once you're here, all you have to do is just look for opportunities. Put out pressure, look for opportunities. Look for pressure, put pressure, look for opportunities. Put pressure, look for over and over and over again. Genji's 1 HP, go dash and kill him. Zenyatta's 1 HP, go dash and kill him. But if they're not, then just stay here. The Hog's looking at you, the Torb's looking at you, you broke turret, the Genji's looking at you. Whatever resources you pull over here are not happening on point. That being said, chat, should we move from here? Now that we're here, should we move from here? He could get a sneaky kill, but you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to. Like right now, it doesn't even really matter who you shoot. Going for Zenyatta, high risk, high reward, because your shurikens are going to be harder to hit across the map. Excuse me. Sigma Hog, very easy to pressure, but obviously they're not squishies. But the idea here is that you could be right-clicking off a cooldown on the Sigma Hog. You could put an immense amount of pressure on the Sigma Hog. If you throw shurikens at the Sigma Hog, they will either die or leave point. I guarantee you. Bang, bang. I don't really like you going here. You already had a good angle and you wasted a dash for really no reason. But right here, like legit. Like what are these guys? What can they do? Like what can they do? Let's keep watching. Right click, right click, right click, right click, right click.
I'm dead.
Yeah, see.
Just down point.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Like this hog can't do this. Like this is just. So first off, you went from a, like, do you notice how like the angle that you vacated? Do you see who's there now? So if you were to go for Zen, this is why you position on this good angle here, so that you have a better opportunity to go for Zen, or you prevent him from coming here, because this Zen's gonna murder your team now. But okay, whatever. But look at this hog. He literally walks right in front of you. Look at how much pressure. Look at what he does. And he just takes high ground. And you just ignore him. And you go for Zen across the map. I don't think this is a good plan. I actually think that going for hog there would have made more sense. So positionally, initially okay. You're way too zigzaggy, and you don't understand that your existence on an angle is enough pressure. Your existence on an angle is enough pressure. And to access the Zenyatta, you were forced to dash directly through the enemy team, or right in front of them, really, to get the kill. And that's something that you want to avoid. But yeah, so the big thing with the Genji was like understanding the science behind Genji pressure, about like controlling angles and just using that to farm pressure. If the enemy team doesn't respect you and you see an opportunity, you absolutely go for picks. If they do respect you and they play like sissies, then your team will win because you've controlled a huge part of the map. Like the reason why Genji is popular in Gibraltar is because you can utilize the high ground to threaten enemies really easily, like over and over and over again. Like a Genji just is permanently pressuring high ground, and if you don't have a Genji too, then they have to drop from high ground. And so what ends up happening is a Genji on a Gibraltar attack on first point is like a high ground free card. You play Genji on attack and you have a good Genji, you get the high ground for free. Because they can't contest a Genji on high ground. Because he doesn't even need dash to wall climb, throw shurikens, deflect, dash through, drop, and they can't, and it's a free high ground card. So you play Genji because, not just because, oh, they're playing Zenyatta, easy picks, you know. You play Genji because it's like, hey, this hero can put an immense amount of pressure on high grounds really easy. So that's why you'll often see him on certain maps and not others. Nice deflect in front of the Ana. Yeah, that was fine. Okay, so then the same kind of thing we can kind of look at with our McCree as well, where we leverage angles. But the difference between Genji and McCree is you're a lot more flexible with like the range of your angle. So like, remember we talked about before where it was like, okay, you know, you could go Sigma Hog, you can go Zenyatta, high risk, high reward, because Zenyatta's further away, so hard to hit shurikens. With McCree, there's not that much of a dilemma. Obviously, there's some fall off, the shots are a little harder to hit at range, but for example, if there's somebody standing out in the open, go for the easy kill. Like you have such range that you can be a lot, like even more conservative with your angles, because you don't have to be positioned hyper aggressive to land shurikens. And then basically what you do is like there's a misconception with like Flash that you should be like looking for aggressive Flash plays. I mean, you can, but really what you could do with Flash is that you take an aggressive angle, you utilize that angle, and then if anybody comes after you to threaten you, you use Flash to say, nah, my angle, and then you could back off, right? If you don't get the kill, because if you back off, well, then they've spent a lot of time getting rid of you, right? And then your team will win the fight elsewhere, and then you can go back and take the angle away later. But right now, like it's very similar. Like DPS in general have a very similar mindset in how they play. They utilize their range and mobility and damage threat to clear out space for their team. Like DPS actually creates a lot of space for your team if played properly. Don't stand here. Don't stand here. It's more dangerous from you. You don't have very good cover. Everything is coming directly at your face. So I want you to swing left once you get healing and like start to pressure that Sigma. Make that Sigma with a little bit of support, bust his shield, shoot him, make him go back to point. Because if he goes back to point, well then you have high ground, you can shoot him, or you can shoot their backline. It's Overwatch, guys. It's over and over and over and over and over again. The same things over and over again. Get healing, get healing, get healing. Alright, now go left, now go left, now go left, 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 go left. Alright, get off the point, get off the point, get off the point, get off the point, get off the point.
Not sure.
Yep, so this is your spot. This is your spot. And now that they're on ball, ball's going to want to dive your backline. But if ball rolls through this area, he's going to run into you and your flashbang before he even gets set up. Even if he doesn't run into your flashbang, you'll be able to put some damage on him before he even sets up his dive to begin with. So like you start to control, like the ball can't just roll through main and dive your Ana, right? He has to go around left or around right, and he's going to hopefully run into either you or Tracer, which makes that dive hard. So you can a lot of times peel by being split from your team. But I don't like the amount of attention. You see how that ball has created so much space so easily? Look how much attention that we're giving this Hanzo across the map. We don't care about the Hanzo. He's not really creating space for us. If this Hanzo starts to take an angle or starts to go here, sure, we don't care about this. We care about like the fact that you guys are S-king away from this spot for no reason. Why? It's a ball.
Just play point.
It's a ball. No, don't play point. That's the worst spot for you to play. Because if you play point, now you get surrounded. And look at your positioning now. Look at how low impact you are right now. You're doing nothing. And meanwhile, look at what's happened around the battlefield. Junkrat's been able to get on right for free. They have taken all of this high ground out in the open because you guys didn't poke them out from here. Let's see what else happens. And Zenyatta has once again swung left uncontested and is now literally just mouse wanting for free on your team uncontested. You guys are literally surrounded and you're all in this little area here. It's over. Like, you guys aren't going to win this. GG's. And the frustrating thing for me is that there was no real reason for you to drop. You weren't really, okay, pressured. They sent a Hanzo after me, a Hog after me. I had to back away and go back towards me. No, there was no reason. You literally just like you're like no, like what are you doing? Like why? Like you look like an idiot. Which flank you take or which angle or sightline that you take depends on your hero. So we can look at this map here and be like, okay, I've got options here. I can go right and have a little bit longer sightlines, a little bit safer, it's a little bit more open. Or I can go left and it's a little bit more enclosed, right? You know, I can maybe get value out of flash, but maybe I'm scared of like they're gonna run a Reaper, or maybe there's a Hog that might hook me. So as like a McCree, who's like a generally more range here, especially on a map like this, I'd probably lean right side to start, assuming that I can get a little support from there. But maybe if I'm a Reaper, I would start rolling out left. Maybe if I'm a Genji, I would roll out on the little high ground above left because that's like high ground. And so it's sneaky for me to go there. You see kind of like how like at which flank you take, like every DPS will take a slight angle, a different, like maybe a long angle, a really greedy angle, a short angle, a small angle, a high ground angle, but it all depends on which DPS hero you're playing. Does that kind of make sense? So like, that's where the DPS heroes really differ. It's not if they angle, or it's how and where they angle. Like if you're playing Widow and you go inside this room here, you're feeding. Like a Widow would play an angle up here where she's got something of an angle, but she's got a really long sightline. A Pharah would go on an open space over here. A Tracer might go, you know, inside left all the way around or inside right all the way around. A Sombra might do the same. Ashe might play up here as well because a little bit of high ground. She can coach gun up. Ashe might also play, you know, up on this high ground up here and even wrap around for a greedy dynamite. But you see like how every single hero has different options, guys? So I know what we're gonna do, and I'm already sad.
Where's the shield broken?
Yes. Yeah. Oh no. Like here's the thing, chat. You might position here, and Hog looks to hook you, and they push you, and you have to go back towards main. But at least threaten it. At least give him something to think about. Yeah, I don't know if I would take that duel. That's a little scary for me. You're just stuck here. You're just stuck here. Like, unironically, it would have been 10 times better for you either to contest left earlier or, like I said, roll out right so you have more open sightlines. They're playing Echo Junkrat. They would insta-lose. Echo Junkrat insta-loses to you playing here. Like, if this was a stupid quick play round, I would have rolled out here, I would have sat right here, and just dared them to come after me. Come after me, I roll out and grab Mini, and then I keep pressing mouse one on Orisa Hog. And again, you don't have to even kill the Echo Junkrat. You can kill the tanks. You win a team fight by a lot of the times by winning the flank, right? Okay, so here's an example, or fighting for the flank, fighting. Or if you win the flank, let's say time passes and you win the flank, and the blue guy, like you shoot the Echo, she flies back towards your team, you then leverage the flank. Do you guys know what leverage means? Leverage means that you have an advantage and you push it. So if you're leveraging the flank, the Echo is now behind her Orisa Hog, so you can't shoot the Echo anymore. But what do you do now? You have the good position, nobody's contesting you, smoke a cigar, and press mouse 1. They lose. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to go. The McCree's on the angle. So you fight for the flank. If you win the flank, you leverage the flank. If you lose the flank, you go back to your team, you nurse your wounds, but you better go back out and start fighting for it again, because the longer that McCree is on that flank, the longer that Junkrat, the longer that Zen, the longer that damage boosted Echo, the longer that damage boosted Ashe, the longer that Reaper or Mei or Genji or Tracer is there, the more damage that they're gonna do. Kill Echo. This is good that we're prioritizing Echo, though. Do you see, chat? Do you see how, like, this Echo won this flank because it was uncontested? And so now she's leveraging it. So you, as a McCree, need to target that Echo, send her back away before you start shooting Orisa Hog. And hopefully you can send her away and then use it yourself. But it's good that you're shooting Echo. It's good that you were shooting Echo. If you didn't shoot Echo, she was going to kill your team. When is taking an angle mistake? Very rarely. Whenever you do take an angle, just be aware of, like, how many enemies are there and get help if you need to. And also, if you're playing a comp that's like Sombra, Tracer, Ball, and there's a lot of dive, you can't split too far. You have to be a little more conservative. So, and I want you to play here. Stay here. Stay right here. Stay right here. I know your Hog pushed up too far.
Okay,
so your Hog did, yeah, they annied him, but your Hog did what you didn't do. You went angle, back off because team backed off. Hog went angle, I'm not going to back off because I think I'm immortal because I'm Hog, and then I die. Because people think that, like, if I stack with my main tank, our pressure is multiplied by 6. Like one powerful straight up punch. And to an extent, that can be true. But it's usually not. And because it allows the enemy team to know there's only one threat. So I only have one punch to dodge. And if you don't land that one punch, then I'm going to kill you. Whereas you can have multiple different angles of threats, and the reality of the situation is you only really just need one punch for knockout anyway. So why would you put it all on one punch when all you really need is one kill and you win the team fight? That's like bringing a sledgehammer to a sword fight. You don't need that. It's too slow and bulky. You lose out too many opportunities. You get one swing and you're down, and you don't need a sledgehammer to win a fight.
They got smasher TP.
Your position main, you literally let the Hog just walk in, and the irony is that your position on main because it's safer and you die anyway. And that's what happens. Like, any of you guys who have seen me go over this before, is the irony of main is as often more dangerous because the enemy team takes angles to attack main. And if you stand on main, you're more likely to run into Junkrat spam, Zenyatta spam, hooks, whatever. Makes your POV really awkward. Exactly. That's how you're dead.